Okay, so I've decided to tell you guys the story about how I was sexually assaulted. Um, I'm doing this because I've just seen a lot of posts on Tumblr and stuff about victim blaming, and I want you guys to understand that it's not just other people blaming the victim. A lot of the time, like, the victim blames themselves, which is what happened to me. So this happened in September or October of my junior year of high school. So it's like a year and a half ago. It's just some background. I love hockey, like, a lot, and I live in Texas, so no one around me really loves hockey other than my family. And there's this one other kid in my school that I know of that likes hockey, and I followed him on Twitter, he followed me on Twitter, whatever, everything was fine, and then we kind of started talking on Twitter, and things were normal, I guess. We were flirting with each other, and I was like, okay, like, this guy could potentially become a boyfriend, whatever, and we started texting, we exchanged numbers, stuff like that, and then one night he asked if he could come over, or if I could go to his house, but, so my parents weren't home, and I was like, sure, you can come over, even though I know it's against the rules. And now I know why. So he came over, and we were watching something, and just to let you know, like, I was wearing pajama pants and, like, one of my dad's t-shirts. It was not revealing. I wasn't asking for it. There's nothing like that. So we were just sitting next to each other on the couch, and he, like, started kissing me, and I was okay with some kissing, so I just let that happen, and then he started to, like, get up to, like, take off his pants, and I was like, no, and, like, he kept trying, and then he, like, kind of stopped, and he, like, pulled me on top of him, and, like, I kept saying no, and he kept trying and trying and trying, and, like, it got to the point where, like, he started begging me for it. And he eventually took himself out of his pants, and, like, I guess at that point I kind of just froze. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, and I just kind of, like, I kept saying no. I repeatedly said no, and, like, that's the thing. I don't know, I think I started feeling guilty because I knew he was turned on, and I felt like I had to take care of it because it was my fault. And, but I had said no, like, at least 100 times, and he kept trying and kept trying and kept trying, and, like, things ended up happening, and, like, I obviously did not want them to happen. Like, I kept telling him no, and it kept happening. And it was pretty awful, honestly. After that, he basically was like, we don't ever have to talk again, so bye, and he, like, left my house. The thing about this that really bothered me was that now that I'm older and that I've been on Tumblr longer and I've seen posts about stuff like this, is that I've legitimately blamed myself for this so many times. Like, I've told myself, you know, you invited him over. Why did you invite him over? You knew that a situation could happen. Like, why did you trust him? It's your fault because you invited him over when no one was here and nobody would have heard anything. And, like, it legitimately scared me because anything could have happened. He could have done whatever he wanted, and I'm sure probably no one would have heard me. He's got at least 50 pounds on me and at least, like, 6 inches. So there was no way, if he wanted to physically restrain me, that I could have pushed him off. It was really crazy, honestly. So that happened. And I kind of struggled with it for a long time. I started having panic attacks. I started, like, I couldn't go to school because I would have a panic attack in the morning because I saw this kid every day in school. And it legitimately scared me, like, the thought of him doing that again or being in a situation like that again. And, I mean, my mom started asking me, like, you know, like, why haven't you been going to school? And, you know, like, at that point I had become pretty depressed, and they noticed, because my parents were great about it, but finally, like, we were in the car on our way to a bookstore, and I was like, okay, so the reason why I've been so weird is because I was sexually assaulted, like, at home. Like, I told my parents what happened, and, you know, they offered to get me therapy, and stuff like that, but it never really ended up working out, because we were in a difficult transition. My dad was changing jobs, we didn't really have insurance, so I never really got therapy, or anything like that. But telling them was honestly the first step in me accepting that, like, things had happened. Okay, so that's the whole story of, like, how it happened. And, like, the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I blamed myself for so long, and, like, finally, like, I just had to, like, I want you guys to know that there is someone out there who's been through it. I'm sure there are people who have been through worse, and it's something that I still have trouble accepting, like, today. I'm 18 and I can't even, I mean, I'm sure it's had a lot of effects on me personally. The biggest part of this, though, is that there are people who always say, you know, oh, it's the victim's fault, they were asking for it, they did this, they did that, they did this, and I'm here to say that if someone says no, if someone pushes you away, if someone even looks like they don't want what you're doing to them, you need to stop. And you need to think about what you're doing, ask them if it's okay, and if they say no, then you need to stop. Like, that's straight up just the ending. That should be the end. And I know that there are so many other girls who have been through this, and, like, the thing that bothers me the most is that the kid doesn't even know that he did it, I'm sure. He doesn't even know that what he did was sexual assault, because he's probably been raised to think that he can get that from girls whenever he wants. And if he sees this video, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you sexually assaulted me, and I wish now that I had told him, or I had fought back harder, or, you know, I don't even know, like, told the police, but I didn't want to go through the whole he said, she said thing and have it turn into this big fiasco. And it's just, that's one of the hardest things about being a woman and having been sexually assaulted, or being a man and being sexually assaulted, is that you're terrified that no one will believe you. And it's awful that we have to deal with this as victims, because so many people like to make up things about how it's the victim's fault. And I didn't want to be in that position where I had to try to prove myself to other people that it had actually happened. I guess that's it. Sorry, this was kind of weird. Thanks for watching, and I hope you as a person learned something from this, whether it's that there's someone else who's been in that situation, or it's whether you've personally, you know, been sexually assaulted. I didn't even know I had been sexually assaulted until I went into health, and they went through what each form of assault is, and it was, that was an interesting day in health. So, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm always open to talking about it now. And don't be afraid to speak up about things that have happened to you, because opening up about it and letting the world know that happened should not bring shame on you. And you should just be proud that you got through it, and that, you can attempt to live your life in a fuller and more fulfilling way of knowing that there are people around you that have been through it too, and they are fully willing to help you. Yeah, I think that's it. Bye.